For today's life skill, I'm going to recommend that you teach your kids how to interact with adults. And it starts with any introductions and then also how to maintain a conversation with a grown-up. And I know sometimes people get really nervous about their kids interacting with an adult. However, you can teach your kid that if you're interacting with an adult in a public place or even with you around, that they are safe and that this is a good thing to learn how to do. So starting with the introductions, make sure your kids know to look an adult in the eye when they are speaking to them, shake their hands firmly, but not too firmly and not too weakly, just right. And that when your child speaks, teach them to use that inside voice. It doesn't need to be a yell, but it needs to be above a whisper so that the adult can hear them. Then tell your kids that when you speak back to the adult, make sure you use their name. Like, it's so nice to meet you, Mr. Smith, because that creates connection. It shows you're paying attention, and studies show that we all like to hear our names said back to us. So that's a great way to, again, further connection. And then teach your kids that if they're trying to maintain a conversation with an adult, to repeat questions back to the adult. Now, this can get tricky, right? Because there are differences between an adult and a kid. But if the adult says, what school do you go to? You can tell them what school you go to, and then you can turn it and say, what elementary school did you go to when you were a kid? Or where do you work? So it's similar enough, but it fits the bill, right? It could even be something like if the adult is saying, so who all is here in your family? And, you point them out, but then you can say, well, who are you here with? So it's that back and forth that keeps conversations going. So those would be good things to practice. Now, you got to practice this, right? So maybe at a family gathering or a school event where the adults around you and the kids around you. Maybe it's your work event that the adults well, they might know your kids and they can practice there. There's all kinds of places you can do this, but it's just a matter of putting in some intentionality to it to really help your kids to be successful. Because if they can learn this in elementary school and junior high, then when they go to interview for their first job in high school as a young adult, they'll walk in with some confidence and comfortability with speaking to an adult because they have done this all along. And that will go a long way to getting them hired for that first job. So go practice with your kid, give them opportunity to try, and help them to know that it's really important to develop this skill for life.